Rain lashed against the cold streets of Madison, Wisconsin, painting the night in flashes of red and blue. Ethan Cole, step out of the vehicle with your hands up. The 33-year-old man obeyed, soaked and shivering, his mind fogged with exhaustion. As the officers led him toward the patrol car, Ethan suddenly winced, clutching his abdomen. I'm not feeling well," he muttered weakly. Before anyone could react, he collapsed on the pavement. "Call an ambulance," yelled Officer Daniels. Within minutes, paramedics arrived. Ethan was pale, trembling, mumbling incoherent words about something inside. At the hospital, the doctors rushed to assess him. Dr. Aisha Patel, the attending physician, performed a routine scan. But what she saw on the ultrasound monitor made her blood run cold. Her voice trembled. "This can't be right. He's 7 months pregnant." The officers froze. A man pregnant? No one in the room could find words for what they had just witnessed. Before that stormy night, Ethan Cole's life had been painfully ordinary. A quiet software engineer with a shy smile and few friends, he lived in a small apartment on the city's edge, working long hours and avoiding crowds. Nothing about him screamed extraordinary. He was the kind of man people forgot about as soon as he left the room. But all of that changed the night the police came knocking on his car door. He was wanted for questioning about a car crash months earlier, one that had claimed the life of a woman, a pregnant woman. Ethan had tried to forget that night, burying the memory deep under silence and guilt. But now, the past was clawing its way back. Detective Claire Hastings leaned forward, watching Ethan closely from across the hospital bed. "Mr. Cole, your car was identified near an accident scene 3 months ago," she said. "The crash took the life of Grace Mitchell and her unborn child. We have camera footage confirming your vehicle's involvement." Ethan's face turned pale. "Grace," he whispered. "Yes," Claire replied softly. "Her husband survived but was unconscious at the time. Witnesses say they saw a man run from the scene." "Was that you?" Ethan hesitated, then nodded faintly. "I didn't mean to run. I was scared. She said something." "What did she say?" His eyes glistened with tears. "She said, 'My child is innocent and deserves a life.'" Detective Hastings frowned. The words felt strange, prophetic, almost haunting. Dr. Patel's discovery spread through the staff like wildfire, though no one dared speak openly. The medical scans were clear. Ethan Cole was carrying a living fetus, roughly 7 months developed, with a steady heartbeat. "I've repeated the tests 3 times, she told the detective. "It's not an error. There's no medical explanation for this." When Ethan woke up, Dr. Patel approached him carefully. "Mr. Cole," she said, "we found something extraordinary. You're carrying a baby. A living one." Ethan stared at her blankly. "A baby? Inside me?" "Yes," she replied. "And it's about 7 months along." He looked away, voice trembling. It's her child." Dr. Patel frowned. "You mean Grace Mitchell?" He nodded slowly. "She said her child deserved to live, and now, somehow, he's alive inside me." The room went silent. Even the machines seemed to pause in disbelief. Once Ethan was stable, police took him into custody under strict medical supervision. His condition remained a mystery. No one outside the investigation was allowed to know the details. At the precinct, Detective Hastings questioned him again. "You're telling me you believe this baby belongs to Grace Mitchell?" Ethan's eyes were tired but sincere. "I don't believe it. I know it. I can feel her inside me." Like her last words became real. The detective sighed, rubbing her temples. "Ethan, miracles don't just happen like that. Neither do pregnancies in men," he said quietly. "But here we are." Weeks later, the case went to court. The world knew only fragments of the story: an accident, a guilty man, and rumors of a strange medical condition. The truth was buried under confidentiality. Ethan stood before the judge, trembling but composed. "Mr. Cole," the judge began, "you're charged with involuntary manslaughter and fleeing the scene. How do you plead?" Ethan looked up, his voice steady. "Guilty, but it wasn't intentional. It was an accident." He told them everything: the storm, the collision, the sight of Grace dying in the front seat, and the last words she had whispered as she reached for him. "I ran because I was terrified," he said, tears falling freely. "But her words never left me. And now I understand. She gave her child life through me." The courtroom fell silent. Even the judge, seasoned by decades of strange cases, looked shaken. "Mr. Cole," he said finally, "I cannot explain what you've described. But the law must follow its path. You are sentenced to 10 years in state prison. Ethan lowered his head. As long as her baby survives. I accept that. Prison was supposed to be punishment. For Ethan, it became a sanctuary of reflection and of miracles. Doctors visited weekly to monitor his condition. The fetus continued to grow normally. And as the weeks turned into months, Ethan's body weakened, but his spirit found peace. By then, it had been 3 months since his arrest. The baby had reached full term. Dr. Patel, now assigned permanently to his case, reviewed the latest scans and sighed deeply. Ethan, the baby's ready. We need to deliver soon. Ethan nodded. Will it hurt? She hesitated, then spoke carefully. This isn't about pain, Ethan. You're a man. You don't have a natural way to give birth. There's only one possible way. His heart pounded. You mean surgery? Yes, she said. A C-section is the only way this child can come into the world. He closed his eyes, a tear slipping down his cheek. Then do it. Let him live. The operating room was tense and silent. Guards stood outside while a small team of doctors prepared for one of the strangest surgeries in modern history. Ethan lay on the table, heart racing. Dr. Patel leaned over him. You're doing something no one's ever done before, she said gently. Hold on to that thought. He smiled faintly. Tell him his mother wanted him to live. Moments later, the anesthesia took hold. The surgery began. For over 2 hours, the team worked carefully. Every step felt unreal, beyond science, beyond logic. And then, at last, a cry broke through the sterile silence. A baby boy, tiny, alive, perfect. Dr. Patel lifted the child, her hands trembling. He's here, she whispered. When Ethan awoke hours later, weak but conscious, the first thing he heard was the soft sound of breathing beside him. He turned and saw the baby swaddled in white. He made it, Dr. Patel said softly. You did it. Ethan smiled through tears. No, he whispered. She did it. Months later, after Ethan recovered, he made one final request, to see David Mitchell, Grace's husband. David arrived at the prison infirmary looking nervous, uncertain why he had been called. When he entered the room and saw the baby, he froze. Ethan spoke softly. This is your son. David's eyes widened in disbelief. My son? That's impossible. Ethan nodded slowly. I know. But Grace, she found a way. David sank into a chair, shaking his head. You don't understand, he whispered. For months after she passed, I kept seeing her in my dreams. Every time, she said the same thing. Our baby is still alive, David. He'll come to you soon. He looked up, tears streaming down his face. I thought it was just grief, just my mind playing tricks on me. But now, he gazed at the child, filling his voice. Now I know she was telling the truth. Ethan's own tears fell freely. She spoke to both of us, then. You through dreams, me through life. David gently lifted the baby, holding him close. Grace, he whispered, his voice trembling. You kept your promise. Ethan smiled weakly, feeling peace for the first time in months. He belongs with you, he said softly. That's why I'm still here, to return what was never mine. David looked up, eyes full of gratitude and sorrow. You gave me my family back, he said quietly. Ethan shook his head. No, she did. She's still with you, he said softly. Just in a different way. The case was never made public. The files were sealed, the doctors sworn to secrecy. The world never learned that a man once carried a life that wasn't his, born from a promise spoken in the final breath of another. Ethan served his remaining sentence quietly, a shadow of his former self, but strangely at peace. When asked years later about the event, Dr. Patel said only one thing. Some things aren't meant to be explained. Maybe it wasn't punishment or miracle. Maybe it was just love, refusing to die. Life has a way of reminding us that every action echoes beyond our understanding. Sometimes, guilt becomes the soil from which redemption grows. Sometimes, the most impossible events are born from the simplest truths: love, loss, and the desire to make things right. Ethan's story reminds us that forgiveness isn't always about being forgiven by others. Sometimes it's about learning to forgive yourself. No matter who we are or what we've done, there's always a part of us capable of bringing something good back into the world. If life gave you a second chance to correct your greatest mistake, would you take it, no matter the cost? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more powerful, thought-provoking stories like this one.